singing, we will rock you.
Trevor, first, thank you so much for speaking with me. I'm going to ask you right off the top, as we're speaking, where are you and what's the weather like?
Well, thank you for having me. We are in Medicine Hat right now, and yesterday it was minus 24, so around there.
Okay, so I've got nothing to complain about because right now, of course, as I'm speaking to you, I'm in Toronto, which you're going to be here very soon to perform this great show, We Will Rock You, but it's snowing, it's icy, so you know what? Welcome to Canadian weather, I guess. So
Exactly.
I gotta ask you though, how does it feel being part of such an iconic stage show that people have watched around the world, not just celebrating music, but celebrating Freddie Mercury and the group?
I mean, there's so many reasons I'm very grateful for being a part of this production, but I think that Queen is just one of the most universal musicians and artists and bands of our entire the world history. Their music ranges for so many different generations, and there's so many different styles of music that they have to offer. So it's just really cool being on stage representing and honoring such an iconic band and watching our audiences really embrace Queen and their music and the hilarious story that ties them all together.
Let's go into that because I've been honored to be able to see this show. I'm looking forward to seeing this again. But for folks who don't know what the show is about and how the music is translated into a story, how does it work?
Yeah, well, if anyone has ever seen something that's like another type of jukebox musical like Mamma Mia, which is ABBA's jukebox musical, it's the same type of sense that they put a catalog of an artist's music into a show. So We Will Rock You uses Queen's music, and it takes place in the future where rock music and individuality are all prohibited by the evil killer Queen. And my character, Galileo, is this prophecy who hears all of these voices and sounds and noises and words in his head and leads a group of bohemians to get free thought back and music back into the eye planet with his friends Scaramouche and Bohemians. So it's a lot of fun. It's very quirky. It was on the West End for so many years, one of the longest running shows there, and it's great to have it being toured around the States and Canada right now and being a part of it.
You know, and I was going to say, the other thing that's really great is, even though, of course, we are celebrating the music of the Queen, it really is, and at certain points, it is shown that this is a tribute to Freddie Mercury.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people come to the show who don't know about musical theater, and they think it's just a Queen tribute concert, which it's not, but in a sense, we are definitely paying homage to Freddie and the band through all of the music. The music is the pulse of the show, but definitely the last 10 minutes of the show, I get to belt out three of the trifecta of Queen with We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions, and Bohemian Rhapsody with the amazing cast. So at that last 10 minutes, the audience, if they've been waiting for some type of concert or tribute, they get it.
The other thing they get, too, is great costumes and great special effects. If you can talk about that, please.
Absolutely. Our costume designer, Angela Dale, was absolutely phenomenal about putting together a very colorful show. Our director, J.P. Thibodeau, really wanted a colorful version of the show, still using rock elements, but really bringing out these saturated colors. So every day, actually, I have to dye my hair blue for the show, which is really fun. But everyone has wigs and beautiful, bright costumes. And then our lighting designer, Rob Sondergaard, was absolutely impeccable at creating the show with a whole bunch of really cool visual elements. And we also have these LED screens that are on the back walls of our show that take us to the different settings. And it's just really bright. It's really fun, really energetic. And if you're like that rock concert vibe, definitely the lighting and the visuals in the show will definitely support that.
You know, you kind of mentioned about that last 10 minutes because this is a show. And like I said, I've seen it before. It is very hard to sit and just watch because when some of those songs are coming up and the energy that you guys have off of that stage, you want to stand up, you want to clap, you want to move. Like this really is about bringing people together.
Absolutely. It's I think you're bang on there. And like I saw the show 10 years ago and I remember buying the soundtrack right after, and I still to this day have it all imprinted in my head, like some of those scenes, and like hearing Somebody to Love for the first time being sung, I was like, oh my goodness, this is just, it's the pulse of this show it really is contagious, and it does carry through with you. When I'm not on stage, the amazing woman who plays the Killer Queen sings a lot of the tunes that Carrie, who plays Scary Mission, and I don't get to sing, and we are off stage jamming along with them. Just 90 shows in right now, at the same that I was one show in. The music, there's just something to it that it's all the right ingredients to make you move.
Not just the music, but what you guys do on stage too, I think is absolutely amazing. I'm just curious for you though, when you first heard about that you were going to sing some of these iconic songs, were you ever at some point worried, because you have to give it justice, because we all know what it sounds like. We all remember on the radio or vinyl and all this other stuff. Were you ever worried, and what was it like taking that step to bring this not just to the stage, but to fans as well?
Definitely, there's a pressure there for sure, and the reality is I'm not Freddie Mercury, and no one is. So that's kind of the first thing that you have to just take off your shoulders, and you have to remember you're doing a musical. I'm very grateful that I have had the soundtrack in my foundations of my music learning, because when I did see it and started learning the soundtrack more than a decade ago, it's the original Galileo, whose name's Tony Vincent on the West End, kind of taught me how to sing, along with the Rent soundtrack too. So I listened to these soundtracks, and it's kind of like how I developed my own singing voice. So I think there's elements of the original show, at least, that I pay ode to. But I think that there's something about not even just the sound of them, but it's just the energy that Freddie had. And I do try to capture that in terms of being energetic while I'm singing, and making sure that that just none of their songs are all their songs should be respected, but none of their songs are meant to be copied in the show. They're just meant to be elevated, and I think that our team really does that. There's some phenomenal vocal performances in the show.
Amazing. Look, as we're wrapping this up, for folks who have never seen it, if there's one thing you want to say to them, what would it be?
I would say, if you want to get out of the cold in this Canadian winter, you want a fun time out, then come to the theater, and I promise that we will heat things up for you.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. Look, thank you so much for making the time for me. Be safe. Looking forward to seeing you guys coming to Toronto, and looking forward to seeing this great performance.
Well, I'm looking forward to coming home. It's going to be a good time. Thank you so much for having me.
Take care. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
We